Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Ethyn Ewing, who will be fighting on Lights Out Extreme Fighting 18. Hello, Ethyn. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for taking the invitation. And in just about the week, you will be fighting against, I think that another good prospects like yourself. So if you can tell me, how do you feel before this bout?
I mean, I feel very confident. I prepared above and beyond. I think he's a tough individual. I think he's going to fight an aggressive match, but to be totally honest with you, I see myself beating him in the boxing. I see myself beating him in the grappling exchanges. So I think if he comes at me aggressive like he seems to do in all of his fights, then I'm going to let that jab go in the box. And yeah, I'm confident wherever it goes.
I think that this is a really big chance that this fight will end, that it will be not the decision because you are a finisher. And he also, I believe, that finish all of his fights. So I think that this fight will be definitely exciting for the fans.
Yeah, I agree. It's the co-main event. Lights out January 27th, and it's certainly going to be exciting for everyone watching.
And actually, you are 2-0 in the promotion. So do you think that the win in this fight will get you a title fight?
I certainly do. I think that I've been in the running for that from my last two performances, like you mentioned. So after I go and finish this dude on the 27th, then 100%, the next one should be for the belt.
And actually, this whole card is full with very good prospects, like from the top to the bottom, actually. And I think that fans should be definitely encouraged to watch this fights because the fight card is quite good, even very good. And actually, former bantamweight champion in this promotion was Victor Henry, who's of course the UFC champion. So maybe after you win this fight, you will get a title, and then you will get a like maybe contender series shot or even UFC call.
Yeah, I mean the UFC call is exactly where I'd like to be. So fighting on for the contender series puts me one step closer, and then being right to the big show is the end goal. So yeah, I really think so. I think I fought four times last year. I had four finishes in a row. I had another one in the next week is the plan, and then fighting for the belt would be great. Now that Albert Morales has it, and that's another individual to go and get a win and get a finish more specifically over would look really good on the resume. So I think I'm right there, man. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, and I got to keep making it exciting. And yeah, I think that's real close within my grasp for sure.
And overall, I think that you have a really interesting career because you, as the amateur, you were undefeated and you defeat some very good guys. Then you have a, let's say, rough start because you lost two fights, but it was also against really good prospects. And then you finished for the next fight. So I think that it's also probably from your perspective cool to see that there was a moment that maybe the results wasn't there, but right now we are on the really good winning streak.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a little bit of a couple poor decisions, taking things at certain times maybe I shouldn't have. My second pro fight, I was convinced I was done fighting. So for 9 months, I was a plumber by trade, and came back within that first couple months and took that fight on the Cage Warriors card. So, you know, I I didn't understand it to be the business that fighting is, and now I'm much more mature individual in life and a much more mature individual in fighting, and so right where I'm at right now is perfect. And yeah, man, I wouldn't change those first two fights. They helped me grow tremendously.
And in your bio in Instagram, you have that like notion that you are a dream chaser. So if you can tell me what dreams are you chasing in MMA, and maybe if you can share something like outside of the sport.
Yeah. Um, MMA, like I said, UFC is the top spot. It's where I want to go. It's the biggest, the best promotion, and it promotes their fighters the best. So that's get on that promotion, be a part of that company, and work my way up the ranks there. I want to be the bantamweight champion. I want to fight all those top guys. You know, there's people that are in that spot right now that are making a name for themselves fighting at the bantamweight weight class in the UFC. And truthfully, totally honestly, I 100% believe that I should be right in that position. So that fuels my fire even more. I want to be the champion there, and I want to use that to create success in my life. I want to open and start a couple businesses. You know, I already have a business within the construction industry, within safety that I'm a part of, that created from the ground up. So I want to make that real big. I want to use the notoriety and the financial ability that UFC would provide for that. You know, I want to own some properties. I want to open up a restaurant or two. I think that's would be real cool. It's always something I've kind of dreamt of. So yeah, I got a lot of big plans. Um, Ultimately, right now, the only thing I can think of is getting in there July 27th and getting the finish on this guy. You know, like I said, the boxing is going to be a big thing. He's aggressive. He comes forward, but that's the worst thing you can do against a good boxer. And you know, I'm gonna make this one special so that I can get there, I can achieve that goal in the UFC, and then that can start setting up the other things. You know, I work right now 2 jobs and I train full time, and you know, I'm willing to do the work, but I can only imagine only having to train and only having to fight, and that being every single second of my life is only going to go up from here. So that's that's truly what I want: freedom for my life, and fighting is going to take me there. I truly believe that.
You actually mentioned your boxing, and to be honest, I really like and appreciate your style. You have a great body shots in your like previous fights. So was it like boxing the first combat sport that you ever train?
No, boxing is actually probably like the newest combat sport I've trained as a singular uh, style or discipline. I'm actually a wrestler first and foremost. My father was a fighter, so I always grew up around it. My dad had multiple gyms and different businesses that did lots of martial arts, hapkidos and jujitsu and all that stuff. So I've always been around it. I've always really loved it. And then 8th grade, I started wrestling. I broke my collarbone at my first ever wrestling tournament, and from there, I knew I was destined for it. I wrestled all throughout high school. I wrestled out in Tennessee in college, and then as soon as I got back here, about a year or two after that, that's when I started training MMA full time. So, and then I touched base on that second pro fight, and again, you know, there was a lot of different things going on there. But me being a wrestler, me being a grappler, I didn't feel super proficient with the hands. You know, I felt a little out of sorts there, and that played into ultimately what happened there. So as soon as that fight happened, I just said, "Yeah, I'm never going to feel uncomfortable in a position ever again, you know?" And from there, I've been with my coach, Coach Roybal, Dale Roybal, uh, training, you know, every single day on top of all the other stuff at some points, but at minimum 3 times a week. And I love boxing. I never appreciated boxing at first because, like I said, I grew up around mixed martial arts and watching the UFC, and to me, that was always a more complete martial art, and it was more interesting. But now that I have, you know, indulged into the realm of boxing, I really, really appreciate watching uh, a professional in that sport, someone who's very finesse and can hit and not get hit. To me, it's the technical aspects are huge. So yeah, it's a newer one for me, but it's something that I've been doing the last 5 years proficiently. Even when I broke my hand in my last bout, I shifted this knuckle back. I had this one in a cast and this one in a boxing glove, and I just worked on my jab, worked on my lead hand. My footwork got better, so um, it is newer to me. But to be totally honest with you, it's where I prefer to be. I really enjoy striking and being able to be finesse like the professional boxers are.
So it's even more impressive that it wasn't your background, because you are like really technical, and it's like uh, really good boxing, to be honest.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, there was a point where I was pretty much I was doing the MMA stuff, but I kind of let my jujitsu and stuff go for a second because that's all I wanted to do was get so good at the boxing, you know. now, I mean, I always train it, but now everything's more complete. All my skills are growing daily, weekly. And so yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And if you can tell me more about your gym that you are training in, because I believe that you are trained with real true killers.
Yeah, of course. I train out of the Den Training Center in Yorba Linda, under Ben Jones. He's my head coach. Yeah, we have a real tough team there, man. I'm fighting with two other of my teammates on the 27th, Brandon Arndt, as well as Blake DeCursey. Both those guys, you should expect finishes. Brandon's actually fighting the brother of the guy I'm fighting that same night, so that should be cool. It'll be interesting to see. And of course, man, we're super tough. We put in the work, we get after it, and killers is the exact word to use for those guys. Um, like I said, I train there. I do my boxing with Dale Roybal, and then I've been training under Eric Paulson. That's where we started out. That's where the lineage starts with the MMA stuff. And I still go over to that gym and I grapple and I get all my grappling in there. So just the collection of all those different people, it's it's immense, honestly. The the technical aspects from each one of them that they bring and the mental toughness and the preparedness I get is just it's just huge. So, I all those guys, a couple different gyms. My main one's the Den, but it's a collection, all those things together is perfected me and got me to the spot where I am now.
So it's actually looked like perfect recipe for your career right now.
100%. Yeah. I was just having that thought process today that, everything's coming to fruition. Like I really think, I've been putting in the work. Like I mentioned earlier, these guys are in the UFC and they're making a name for themselves. They're making those paydays. And there's no reason why I shouldn't be there competing with those guys. I 100% know I can be, and I know I will be soon. Um, After breaking my hand, it was tough because I fought 4 times last year. I was running through it. I was right on that track, and the only reason I took a break was because my knuckle shifted all the way back here on that dude's cheekbone. So now that I'm back, and now that I'm able to fight, I'm about a week in. What is it, like 3 more days, a week and 3 days out from getting to do it again. Yeah, it's all coming together, man. The perfect recipe is here, and it's gonna make a fine dish. July 27th. It's gonna taste real good.
And right now, to get to the UFC is usually like two ways to go there. It's like one is contender series, and the other is like short notice call. And would you be able to make a bantamweight limit in like 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks for sure. Yeah, there's times where I've let my weight get a little bit out there, uh, but every time I get into this fight camp, I always remind myself, you know, I'm gonna eat like this always. I'm gonna be perfect like this always. And so I'll do a little bit of celebrating, after this one, but I'm right on the cusp. So that only means have a couple meals here, you know, maybe enjoy a day or two. But to be totally honest with you, my plan is to get right back in the gym, get right back to training, continue working on the techniques, and then I'll just get right back on my diet of being real strict. And so, yeah, of course, man, I can make that weight for sure. And if they need me, I'll be there.
I think it's great. It's definitely like one of your advantages because sometimes there are like weight issues, and the fighters that are not signed to the UFC that they just get their chance to get there to fight there. So I think that is like quite big opportunity. Like right now, you don't know that you will get a fight, and in 3 weeks you are fighting in the UFC.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. And uh, just knowing that I'll be extra prepared. It's just outside of fighting, even I think a lot of things are coming together for me, and I just see all the work paying off. So, I'm just not even going to allow something like that to be an issue. I'm a professional. This is what I have to do. This is part of being able to get in that cage and fight and do what I love. So, I'll make sure I take care of that factor, and I won't even let it be a problem.
And do you like watching a UFC bantamweight division just to see the all of the aspects of the top level guys, just to see how you potentially can beat them?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. I sit and I watch these top guys in that division, the Sean O'Malley's, the Corey Sandhagens, the Cheeto Veras, the Peter Yans. I watch those guys all the time because to me that's who I want to fight against. That's who I need to be the best. So of course I'm taking all the notes I can. Um, I'm taking all the notes on the lower level guys as well, especially if that's someone that I would face as I got into the UFC on a short notice or something of that nature. So yeah, just every little thing I can do. I'm really being very tactical about my approach to this. Uh, I've had time to rest and to let the hand heal and to do all these different things, but the time is now. So of course, man, the more I watch these guys, the more hungry I get, the bigger the fire is, and yeah, it's just a good reminder. It allows me to game plan for things, to be prepared, and of course, I'm always watching.
And do you have a bantamweight in mind that you would like to face, maybe even as the dream fight, the one name that you can challenge yourself against?
I mean, the names I mentioned are pretty much it. The Sanhagen, O'Malley, Cheeto Vera would be a good one. I could see that one being as I continue to progress, he's below the other guys, so that would put me like right up there at the top. Um, I know there's some young guys like Peyton Talbot who are in there tearing it up, and those are the guys that I feel very confident that I can compete with. So I think Peyton Talbot's probably the one on my mind right now, since he seems the closest in reach.
And to be honest, you are in the most competitive division, because the level of fighters in the UFC is kind of crazy, that you can mention 50 names of absolutely great fighters, and to be even in the rankings, it's super hard to do, especially as the bantamweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need like, 5 or 6 people maybe, but there's a whole lot more I could continue naming for sure. So yeah, I agree. It's a very loaded division and a lot of tough individuals. So um I'm excited for it. That's to me, I just want to be able to say like I'm the greatest martial artist, you know, and that means going through those guys, those tough guys. So yeah, that's what we signed up to do. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
And how do you deal with the stress before your fights, especially few hours before the fight?
With my stress, you said?
Yes. How do you deal with the stress?
To be honest, I mean, I don't really get too stressed. It's funny, like as a wrestler, I was very competitive into it, and at tournaments before matches, I would be way more nervous. And now I'm going to do real battle with someone who, there's damage that could be at stake. And yeah, the energy grows the day of the fight, the night before, the warm up, especially when you're walking out, it grows. But how I deal with that is just my mental uh viewpoint on the situation. I being prepared is one thing, and instead of me being nervous or stressed, like you said it, that's just energy. That's my body telling me that, hey, we're ready to go. Everything's firing how it's supposed to be. This is the natural fight or flight response. They call it the lizard brain. So I just take all those things into consideration, and instead of those nerves weakening my arms and this and that, it's like a fire that grows in me. It strengthens my muscles, and my mind's prepared. So yeah, it's what do they call it? Like I don't know the exact terminology, I guess, off my head, but like what athletes do is they manifest and they have that mental prep, and they're able to twist the situation into a positive. And so that's exactly what I've done, and that's what I'll continue to do. And that's actually one I got from my dad. Those words exactly, like it's not nerves, it's energy, right? It's a rise and spike in energy because that's what your body's going to do battle. It's only natural that that's going to happen. And so when I look at it like that, then I'm ready to go. And in the responses of fight or flight, I'm here to fight. I signed up for it. This is what I want to do. So yeah, once the time comes, I just use that to fuel me, and I'm ready to go.
So what is like your official prediction for this fight? What do you think gonna happen?
Official prediction, like I said, I don't want to take anything from the kid. There's no personal anything. Uh, as far as like me not liking him or nothing. I think he's tough. I think he can take a shot. But truly, I see him going out with a TKO or a KO finish. I think the way he's aggressive, I'll see those shots, and that right hand's gonna land. If not, that hook over the top, the left hook. So I think one of those two things. But wherever it goes, I'm looking for a finish regardless.
Okay, Ethan, so many thanks for the time and for the conversation. I think that it will be a really another showcase of your skills, and I hope that after this you will get a title in the promotional title.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for having me.